Bienvenidas y bienvenidos. Good afternoon, welcome you all. I will switch to English because the talk will be in English. It's our pleasure to welcome today to Professor Tomasz Janowski. He is the head of the Department of Informatics in Management at Gdańsk University of Technology in Gdańsk, Poland, and he is also a professor at Dirección for Continuing Education Krems, Austria. Tomasz is editor-in-chief of Government Information Quarterly for 10 years now. Government Information Quarterly is one journal categorized as A in the international ranking, so he has a lot of experience in assessing, evaluating quality of research, and today he will talk about publishing in top-tier journals, the insights from an editor-in-chief for this journal. He has been working in digital transformation and digital government for the last 20 years. He has been collaborating with Universidad, Nacional for many years. So it's a pleasure always to welcome him, Tomasz, at your home.
Thank you very much, Elsa. It's always a pleasure to come to UNS. Thank you, Pablo, Karina, all the friends. I'd like to share with you some experience that I collected over the past 15 years in editing a very demanding scientific journal. This is my 10th year. Before I was associate editor. Now for 10 years I've been editor-in-chief with a colleague from TU Delft, Maren Jansen. This is our last year as editors-in-chief because there is a policy that Elsevier has to rotate editors after 10 years. So 10 years, it's a reasonable policy. After 10 years, it's time for new people to take over, and I'm happy to support whatever will be the future for this very important journal for the entire community. And I'd like to share with you some of the insights from the other side. Yes, I mean we are all in the academic environment under pressure to publish. We publish or perish. My English is fine. You can understand me well. Okay.
Yes, perfect.
So we on the author side we have many stories to tell. How the publication goes, well or not well, and what we learn in the process. But there is the other side, the side of the handling editor, or somebody who assigns the reviewers to your publications, to your submissions, and makes decision at the end about whether the submission is accepted or not, or something in between, some revisions. And there is also a special role for editors-in-chief, because they are not only handling individual submissions, they are kind of managing the entire process and dealing with desk decisions. So desk rejection normally, when the paper is not going to the full review process, is rejected without review. And you need to have a clear criteria for when it happens, but it's a necessary thing to happen because of the volume of submissions that are received by top-tier journals. I mean, we're talking about like 1 or 2 submissions per day, yes, to come to a journal like GIQ. So I'd like to take this seminar, it could be a workshop also, but we don't have time. I'd like to take on 5 objectives. One is to kind of step back and look at the endeavor of scientific publishing in the context of different rationales, why people actually undertake the challenge of scientific publishing. There are different reasons, a variety of possibilities. Then I will move on to describe 3 mega approaches to journal publishing under multiple rationales. Whether we work write for a journal, or we write without a journal in mind, or proceed from conference to journal publication. I will then look at the typology of reasons why journal submissions face desk rejection. There are 6 primary reasons why editors are deciding to desk reject submissions. I'd like to describe them, and then I will present a case study in publishing with GIQ. So kind of this is kind of informed by my experience and insight doing this work and spending a lot of my effort in this editorial role over the past several years. Okay, and then finally, I'm asking many questions in the process with the intention that the audience may reflect on these questions and refer them to their own publication experience. Okay, so that some questions are rather obvious, common sense, but they can kind of bring some depth into what is happening, yes, in this process of submitting and getting decisions, reacting to these decisions, etc. Yes, how it happens and what the other side thinks. Yes, what is the actual job of the editor in managing the process. I think this may be a useful feedback to your own publication practice. Okay, so first on the reasons for scientific publishing. So here I see 5 main reasons, or 4 main reasons. One is writing for academic assessment, whether it's a doctoral degree or it's a habilitation degree or it's full professorship. Next, kind of academic promotion. This is a strong driver for all of us. Second is to writing to get citations and increase citation impact in the area. To become kind of well cited with our work, really receiving recognition, visibility in the area, in the community. The third is writing to establish academic position in the discipline, so to be recognized among the peers in the discipline. And finally, last but not least, is writing to make a difference in the world. And that's writing, doing research that is actually supposed to have a real life impact, not just citation impact on the world. And these are legitimate reasons, and perhaps you can have some other reasons also here to reflect on. Okay, so then our reason is very important because the reason will influence what kind of research questions we are putting forward, what kind of research approach, process we will adopt to answer these research questions. It will inform the theoretical lenses we use to justify the process or methodology and interpret the findings. It will influence how we are documenting the process and the findings. For whom we are writing, whether we are writing for our peer researchers, specialists, or we are writing for students, or we are writing for analysts, decision makers, politicians. And then finally, how and where the documented process and findings are published, how we choose the venue for the publication. And I'm sure there will be other aspects of the scientific endeavor that will be influenced by whatever reason you may have for why you actually want to publish scientific work. Now, so for instance, when we talk about academic assessment, then typically you have little choice, but you have to follow your local evaluation system that will inform, provide a list of journal titles where one should publish. Or conferences in my country, Poland, we have a ministerial list which I deeply disagree with in terms of content, but it's a mandatory reference for deciding where to publish, where to send the work. If you want to establish an academic profile in the area, that likely you want to actually meet people. You want to go for conferences and actually meet people face to face to get known and get who is out there in the community. Thank you very much, Elsa. If you want to get citations, of course, you will look at impact factor. You will choose a journal and select primarily through a journal factor, and conference will be secondary for you. You will aim clearly at the journal. And if you want to make a better world, then you will choose to write for some policy briefs, some reports run by international organizations, some national think tanks, the places which are read by policymakers and policy analysts. then once your publication gets into the category where it's actually cited by policymakers, you can legitimately claim to have influenced some important decisions on the country or regional level. Yeah? That's a different ballgame, because that doesn't remove the requirement for rigor or peer review, but it puts a lot of responsibility on what is published and cited actually by policymakers, because it's a substantive impact. Okay, and there will be other, besides process, theory, documentation, after there will be other aspects of the scientific endeavor that will be also influenced by your reasons of, or our reasons for academic publishing. So these are the reasons, just to put it in context, yes? The second is how we are approaching the actual strategy of publishing. And for this, I'd like to fix one reason. It will involve writing for a journal. So I'm not going to talk about policy briefs or some other reasons, or academic advancement, but purely focus on journal publication, and like to talk about 3 mega trends or mega strategies for writing for a journal. Journal-free, journal-driven, and conference-to-journal. Okay? So suppose we are settled on that we want to write a journal article, then we have a choice to write a paper, and then only afterwards look for a journal where the paper might be published. So we separate, we write without any particular journal in mind, or we already know exactly we want to write for Government Information Quarterly, MIS Quarterly, whatever, yes, journal there is, and we write specifically for that journal, to maximize our chances or whatever reason. Or we decide to actually establish our work in the community, and rather than go for a journal immediately, go for a conference, get to know people, possibly look at the selection process of the best papers from the conference to publish a special issue with in a journal, in selected journal. So kind of staged publication from conference to journal. Okay? I don't know which approach would you normally choose as we are here? Please.
1 or 2 and 3.
2 and 3. Yes.
I think 1 is too difficult, yes, because usually journals do have some structure, what they request for a paper to be published in that journal. So if you are completely journal free, it's highly difficult to publish.
Not only that, there are conventions, there are styles, there are expectations from the community, what is actually new knowledge, what should be published or not in a journal.
So once you do your research and you have some publication, you can start looking for journals and then to adapt how to write this, because otherwise it will be...
Correct. So I agree. I would. I think in my experience, I've done all 3. Really depends on the topic, and lots of things in the pipeline. Yes, and you decide where you want. What was the optimal decision where you go next?
Yeah, 1 is kind of survey law, where you write whatever it comes to your mind, and then you select what to cut to send somewhere else.
Correct. That's more or less the. So there are some advantages also in going journal free, because you have few limits on your ideas. Yes, you don't have to conform to something that belongs to a particular journal. Whether so questions, methods, findings, implications of the research itself, they are driving your research rather than some conventions in the journal. Free flow of ideas, and also a legitimate approach to stage writing. You first write in general, and then you decide to actually target some particular journal later. However, of course, this approach, number 1, journal free, is guaranteed basically to lead to misalignment of your article with the journal's preferred scope, focus, structure, and style. So it's a guaranteed misalignment leading to most likely desk rejection. So did you experience misalignment in submitting work? Yes, and with desk rejection decisions? Yes. Yeah. So that's a very common outcome. In fact, for GIQ, the rate of desk rejection is 70%. We have 70% desk rejection. The kind of standard rejection is 20%. So we get 10% only that is accepted. Yes, but 70% goes to desk rejection straight away within a week or two. It's just desk rejection, which is good because you don't waste time. Yes, with that. Yes. So okay. So suppose we want to write for a journal. Yes. So we have a piece of work. We've done research. We've done our diligence with the research, with the way it is documented, and we'd like to select, publish in a journal. We didn't decide where. So what was the selection process? So I would carefully scan the landscape, the research landscape. First of all, I'd like to think I belong to certain community. I'm not a free electron, moving around and publishing here and there, just for the sake of getting some publication points or more citations. But I like to think that we belong to certain communities, and which shapes our research and also our interactions with others. So within this community, I will carefully scan the major journals. I know which journals are there, and for each journal, I analyze the aim and scope, the past few issues, looking at the abstracts and titles, just to make a sense of what is out there recently, not 10 years ago, but from 2020 or something, and getting to know what constitutes new knowledge for this journal, what is really new stuff. I mean, just today we received a special issue proposal for GIQ that was clearly kind of old stuff. It was like 15 years back, yes, in terms of topic, yes. We realized this immediately, but people submitting this proposal clearly didn't look into the journal to realize that this is not new knowledge, that this belongs to the past. So you look at the kind of first determination whether the work that has been done belongs to the new knowledge for that journal in a given time, or what else is needed to advance the work to the category of new knowledge. Okay? Do you know journals in your area? Familiar with? Yes? So you've done this homework once, and then you can kind of reuse for the next. Yes, clear. So that's of course for all, particularly PhD students, it's important to convey this importance of knowing where you belong and what is out there in terms of the venues for publications. So the kind of practical approach which I'm kind of advocating when scanning the journal for new knowledge is to look at the abstracts, and in the abstract you can normally quite clearly discern what is the research motivation and what is the contribution. So motivation, contribution pair, typically at the beginning of the abstract and at the end of the abstract. It should be somewhere there. What you actually, why you are undertaking this research, what's your rationale, and then what you actually delivering as new stuff, yeah, to the body of knowledge. And so once you've seen enough of these rational contribution pairs, these can inspire the formulation of the motivation contribution pair for our own research, for our own article, for that particular book. So that it's a kind of constructive approach to try to landscape what is out there and actually come up with what would be my contribution that fits within this landscape. Okay, so I think I have a good. Normally we would have a good sense of what constitutes in journals that we try to kind of approach frequently, we should have a good sense of what is out there and how the boundaries of this new knowledge are actually changing year by year, or in a bit more longer period of time. So a useful, just to finalize this section on writing for the journal, a small submission checklist. I would always advise to answer 4 questions. One, have you done something new and interesting and kind of substantial, difficult? Second, is there anything challenging in this work? So it's really kind of goes beyond common sense or something quite obvious. Have you provided solutions to any difficult problems? And is the work related to the current kind of hot topics? It doesn't have to be hot in terms of emerging technology, but it needs to be something actually discussed in the community. Not 10 years ago, but something that has been open, kind of probing efforts from people in the community, maybe inspiring projects and groups to work on. Yeah? So whether you actually kind of joining a discussion, a debate on this topic. Yes. Once you have it, you prepare yourself for being cited also. Once the work, because it kind of connects to what is out there, what people are actually interested in, consider this important. So and actually all 4 of these questions should be answered positively to go ahead with the submission. So another approach, so besides going kind of journal-free, without journal, or writing, selecting specific journal and writing for the journal, we also have this path of going for a conference and then the journal, which is a fairly attractive path, particularly if we think of doing research as development level, that we are developing our profile as a researcher, because this enriches our kind of contacts, networks, and we get to know people, and also give us more opportunities to get feedback. So I would always advise PhD students to go for doctoral colloquia at the conferences, to publish there, get feedback, then to go for full papers in the regular research sessions, and then try a more demanding for finished research, mature research, go for more demanding journal submission. So this path will require selecting a conference. In digital government, there are about 5-6 annual conference series that we can choose from with different characteristics, and then rely on the path established by conference organizers that will welcome mature submissions or relatively or promising to submit extended versions of accepted and pre-selected papers for the special issue. So we are regularly in GIQ. Most of the special issues are conference related. So these we do about at least twice per year. Normally we do for 2 conferences per year that there are special issues published. And of course this path is attractive because it provides a staged approach for journal publication with multiple reviews, multiple reviewer teams, revisions, so moving kind of gradually improving the work and to be ready to face more demanding environment. Okay, so have you tried this path? No? Yes. Okay. We tried it a number of times, and I think it's
yeah, the issue is that not all the communities offer this type of conference to journal.
Correct. But you can probably implicitly have a connection between people who are organizing the conference and then the various journals. Yes, people are looking at the themes. Yes, but I understand not every conference will offer these possibilities.
Yeah, I think it's a bit more of a European thing than a North American.
Right.
In particular for machine learning, for instance, they don't really care too much on the journal publications. So as long as you publish in the top machine learning conferences, that's it. So that's the end of it.
Correct.
switch path, right?
Yeah, it's generally computer science thing, yes? You really often prefer conferences, yes?
And within computer science, I think that depending on the community, you know, they may be more keen on the journal publication or another conference publication.
Correct. And you know, the journals are somehow attractive because of citation impact, yes? And the visibility that is offered, generally higher visibility, although subject-specific differences also exist. Okay, in social sciences, this is a legitimate and kind of effective way to advance and to kind of keep in touch with people and what is happening in the community. Okay, now let me go to the third topic, which is misalignment between journal and article and journal and desk rejection, which is happening in 70% of times for GIQ, for submissions. And here there are basically six reasons that there are others, but the six main reasons for desk rejection: poor writing, unclear message, inconsistency, unsuitability, unclear novelty, originality of the work, and low impact potential. Editors want to see potential for impact, citation impact to be out there. So I mean, the story goes that you have done all the homework, your research, you documented, you carefully selected your journal and submitted, and not long time afterwards you receive a letter from the editor that the paper was rejected without being sent for the full review process. Okay? This is not the worst outcome because you're not wasting much time. Normally, it should be a matter of a couple of weeks or within a month to get a desk rejection decision. So what happened? So what was actually the story behind such a decision to be made? Yes. So it's a standard practice, as I explained, because we have a lot of submissions. I mean, there's no number of reviewers available to actually fully review every submission received by high-profile journals. Just not enough reviewers. Plus, for some papers, it will not be effective. Also, they are clearly not going to be successful. So it's better to give an early decision with some indications what should be done to improve the work, and then authors can resubmit to this journal to some other. Okay. So there are various reasons editors can decide to desk reject, but they are generally falling under these six reasons. Wonder, did you face this desk rejection with other reasons than those six? Yes? Like what?
Well, I guess it out of scope, which probably is 4, and suitability.
Yes. Out of scope would be a very common one. Yes, because particularly for specialized journals, they are kind of very they want to keep the focus. So one of the important decisions where the focus actually lies. Okay. Any other reasons? Not necessarily.
Yeah, out of scope as well.
Out of scope. Yeah. Okay, so let me just go quickly through these six reasons. Some of these things will be obvious for you, so I apologize. This seminar often I do with PhD students, and for whom it might be useful to articulate very clearly what is behind some of the things facing them. So typos, grammatical errors, punctuation problems, any problematic writing that makes the paper difficult to read or distract the reader from understanding is a no-no. It's just not at this level. Yes, this is so to avoid this outcome. It's good to have the manuscript read by somebody else who didn't do the work. To check the quality, whether she or he understood what has been written, and check on the quality of writing. In some research institutions in non-English, non-British, English-speaking countries, there is also funding for proofreading. In Poland it's like this, yes. But these proofreaders are not, they also not, I would say, not delivering the quality that you often expect from submissions for top journals, yes, because it's not a technical editing, it's more the general editing of English, which may not be actually sufficient. It's useful, but insufficient. Now I also advise people to go first for Grammarly, full version of Grammarly to check the text, just the basic stuff, yes, to avoid some grammatical issues. Not the free version, but the basic version. I'm not advertising, for Grammarly, but it's true that there are a lot more possibilities for checking the content with the full version of Grammarly. So everybody can answer this question for themselves, how you judge your writing quality and how you could improve. Second is what's the point? The reviewer read the paper, say, okay, so what? So what's the message? Yes, what we want to convey. Particularly things that are read first with title, abstract, yes, introduction, conclusions. So a possible approach with the kind of clarifying the message is to break the message into smaller pieces, very clear, sharp, use simple language aimed at general audience, not jargon, because you want, for example, at least the abstract to be read by a practitioner or policymaker. Okay? And three, letting an independent reader articulate back what message she or he understood. Okay, that also works nice. In my department, I used to have weekly seminars with formal discussants who read presented papers and presented the findings from their own perspective. That's a useful. Yeah, I no longer do this because it was quite a bit of work, but we did it for a couple of years. It was quite a good added value for the authors, for somebody else to express back to them what they understood or not. So this research branding is very important because you write to be cited, to influence somebody else's work, so you want this branding to be kind of clear. Okay, the third reason is inconsistency. So there are multiple manifestations of inconsistency in the papers, like the theoretical framework not informing the method, yes, or not helping interpret the findings, yes, like results are not following the methodology, they come out of flow, yes, it's not following the outcomes from the, you will suspect this is not genuine, yes, or not honest, yes. So being really painfully honest about research limitations, because they also provide you a kind of avenue for future research. If I want to weaken the assumptions on which results hold, then it leads to future possible research development. So this, how do you take care of consistency in your articles? What will be the method? People can develop their own approaches, yes, but this is a kind of common reasons for desk rejection. The fourth, probably most common, is unsuitability of out of scope. To avoid this outcome, we should carefully check the statement in the journal's aim and objectives, aim and scope, the rules put by in the journal's guide for authors, and also read a few recent volumes of the journal to understand what is out there, what kind of conventions, what is supposed to be conform to what is expected. I mean, journals will have their pool of reviewers send more or less to the same reviewers, or not. I mean, maybe there is a pool of reviewers who are less likely to reject the invitations. That's what I would say. So kind of around the journal there is a pool of reviewers kind of converging on people who have the interest in the topic in the journal, and they are less likely to say no or not to reply at all. Yeah. So that's okay. So yes, this I suppose this misalignment is something that happens to all of us. Reason number 5, unclear novelty. So it's not clear what actually. So the manuscript may fail to explain what is new. in the research, how it advances beyond the current body of literature, how it adds to the existing literature, or the research is seen as overlapping or reinventing what already exists. And it's very common. Okay? Doing a systematic literature review is a hard thing. Understanding, tracking the developments in the area is a lot of work. And the question is whether we've done the due diligence required to kind of remove the risk of being accused of producing non-original work.
And the automated tools that editors use in order to check.
Correct. I mean, yeah, plagiarism is something, of course, fairly obvious here, basic here that we cannot. We have to source all the writing properly in the journal. Yes, we have. We see immediately in the editorial system for Elsevier, we see immediately what is the percentage of overlap of the work with existing work, body of knowledge, and we see this immediately with all the possible publications in the world. Yes, so that's quite obvious that this will be detected, any overlaps, unreasonable overlaps. So to avoid this outcome, careful grounding of the research in existing literature, explaining the comparisons with related work. Few authors actually put related work, explicitly related work, to make a kind of point-by-point comparison with what we're offering, what other people have offered before, and why what we're offering is better, or overcomes the limitations of what already exists. You know, this is having related work, not just in the body of knowledge, but strictly related to the problem we are solving is very important. Yes, and attractive research grounding. Yes, to make sure that there is a clear message coming out of the research that speaks out for itself. But of course, if we overstate the impact or trying to or stretch the results, we run into problems of inconsistency, the slide before, and in other reasons for desk rejection. Okay? And the sixth reason for desk rejection will be, well, the editor will look at the manuscript very quickly to determine what did I learn reading the article. Is it worth knowing? Is it something substantive that I should actually know about? And will the paper have an impact in the field? So will it be cited in the field? And of course this impact can be various things. Not just citation impact. Journals will differ in what constitutes the impact of these the articles. It can be citation impact, but it can be impact on professional literature, on government policies, on development, on application. So different kind of impact, and depending on the nature of the journal. But typically we want to see that the work actually has the potential to be impactful for a journal like GIQ. Okay, let me now go quickly to, I have 15 minutes, I just took too long, yes. Case study on Government Information Quarterly. Very quickly, a few words about the journal, publishing in the journal, and this conference to journal path. So talking a little bit about community. So GIQ is a leading journal in the field of information technology, public administration, public policy. It's an interdisciplinary journal, so we welcome submissions from sociology, political science, law, management, information system, library, sciences, business, management, etc. So it's a fairly broad, but focused on the public sector, technology in the public sector. Impact 7.8, site score 17.3 for last year 2023. Desk rejection rate 70, standard rejection rate 20, so 10% is actually accepted. The decision making, you know, the desk decisions usually is just a couple of days. Standard decision delay for the standard decision is 84 days. Editorial outcome 127 days. And medium submission from submission to actually publication, including reviews, etc., revisions is 1 year. 346 days. Yes, this is but actually to actual publication. The impact factor dynamics from 97 to now, so you see has been growing tremendously. We had a slight drop last year in 2023 from, it was 7, it was over, yes, it was over 8 and now it's 7, 8. But it's kind of, particularly following 2015. There was a tremendous growth in the publications and in citations to GIQ articles. When you look at site score, so Scopus, the Elsevier measure, it also goes, gradually goes strongly up. The ranking for GIQ, we are, in law, we are number 1 among 885 journals. In social science, sociology, political science, we're number 4 among 1,415 journals, and in library information science, we're number 2 among 266 journals. So in all cases, we are in the 99th percentile. Yeah, so it's a top journal in several areas. In Web of Science. CIMADO, I think it's called. I think we are, because there are much fewer journals there. I think we are 4 among 84 in information and library sciences. Okay, so when we receive submissions, we need to check whether it matches the journal. So we looked at, does the manuscript cover applications of digital technology in government, in transforming relationship between government and citizens, and does it explicitly address the policy and organizational dimension. If a paper is just talking about technology or just focusing on people, it will not go through. It needs to be more policy organizational and with a clear impact on the running of public administration and public policy. If these elements do not coexist, the manuscript will likely be desk rejection. Also, we need to ensure balance between rigor and relevance. So rigor requires that there is a proper literature grounding and theory building on existing research, systematic research methods, argumentation, replication, generalization. So it's a kind of rigorous in the methodological and theoretical perspective. Relevance means that papers actually address something significant faced by practitioners, policymakers. And the balance between rigor and relevance means that the papers need to address the problems of policy and practice, but also advance knowledge in the field and ensure that there is a guarantee of reliability because of the rigor in methods and the literature grounding. There are some exceptions, like opinion papers, which are less rigorous, but they need to convey a breakthrough idea, yes? Or theoretical papers, but only if they significantly advance the field, yes? So usually when we look at these 4 possibilities, relevance and rigor, if there is no relevance, no rigor, this is rejected. Or if there is a rigor but less relevance of theoretical papers, occasionally they might be accepted, state-of-the-art overview. If there are practical papers with less rigor but high relevance, like breakthrough ideas concept, they might be accepted. And the typical scenario is here, high relevance and high rigor. That's typically where GIQ papers will belong. We are kind of converging the mainstream of publications in the area, converging to digital government research. I would say right now over 60–70% will belong to digital government, and it kind of growing up quite significantly across different levels of digital government, digitization in public administration, digitization, transformation, engagement, contextualization, and the growth of publications kind of in different categories of digital government research also strongly up, with digitization being the the first stage, slowest growth, transformation very much, engagement likewise, and contextualization is just still building up. Okay, when we talk about the path from conference to GIQ, then so essentially we have three avenues for publishing with GIQ: submission to regular issues, submission to special issues, or submission to conference-linked special issues. So these are open, and this is only limited to those that were invited by conference to resubmit extended versions to. And the special issues, mostly these leading conferences in digital government for DGO, eGov, HICS, and ISGov. These are the four conferences, and we quite regularly publish special issues with these conferences. So they are pre-selected, they have been pre-reviewed before, and so we know we get quality content before it goes into the full submission. And we are not guest editors on these. There are normally program chairs of these conferences. They are invited to be guest editors. They are applying to have a special issue, and they are becoming, if it's accepted, they are becoming guest editors. Okay, so this is one example. The conference that will take place next month in Taiwan, the 25th Annual International Conference on Digital Government Research. And in the call of papers, you have authors of selected papers will be invited to submit significantly extended versions to the special issues of various journals, and the top of them is government information. And likely for this conference, we should have, as almost every year, a special issue. Okay, just last slide, because this is, I think, important. What I put together here is a publication landscape for digital government community. So for people doing research on digital government, we generally have a selection of about 10 journals and about 5-6 conferences happening annually every year. And here you have impact factor. So GIQ stands out as the most kind of established journal, but there are others also with impact factor and coming up. And there are established. This is Digital Government Research Library. Community is running a repository of all research articles concerning digital government. It has been for many years nourished, and you see the volume of papers actually in digital government research. Like now it's 19,000 articles in this library, and they are filled about 6,000, so about 30% are filled just by the core digital government journals and conferences. And you see that the path to publishing in GIQ is through these conferences also. Okay? Because all of them, mostly, yes, I mean, not every year, but mostly they will have a special issue published there. Okay, that's all I wanted to say, to convey a little bit of community work, because besides Elsa is also an associate editor for many years with GIQ. We established this conference also ISGov years ago, around 10 editions, and so we feel part of the community and having obligation toward the development of the community, particularly that young people are stepping into our roles. Okay? Thank you very much for your attention. If you have
questions, if you would like to discuss. Yes.
Concerning the rigor of the publications, in more technical publications, we used to submit the source code data. In your journal, what kind of data are you expected to, or is it expected to receive to support the claims of the technical claims of the paper?
Yes. I mean, you will not see formal models, mathematical models, or software code to be published in GIQ. That's not it is social sciences. It's social sciences, but of course, all the findings, hypotheses, have to be substantiated with the right, data, methods, So yes, I mean full suite kind of theoretical development for the articles must be there, including the data on which the study was based. We kind of prefer primary data, primary sources, but also there is research from secondary sources. There are a lot of instruments measuring the progress in digital government around the world. I mean, from time to time we see kind of fashions, you know, of kind of the industry of producing certain kind of research papers, and we kind of it's like you suddenly receive several systematic literature reviews with fairly similar kind of approach, and not going beyond just statistics on the bibliometric data, and with clearly not people who have done in-depth research in the area. And that will not fly, yes, that will not be possible. During the time of COVID, in 2020, so COVID was in December, started in December. In February already we started receiving submissions about COVID. In February, after 2 months. Clearly there was no data or insights after 2 months, you know, gathered to be credible for research, for publishing research, yes? So technical papers, no, but full substantiation of the justification of the findings, of course.
I have a question on being on the other side. So what's the ratio of acceptance for reviewers?
Yes, that's a good question. I normally invite 10 reviewers to get 2 to 3 reviews. Hoping to get, I'm trying to get 3 independent reviews for all the submissions I'm handling. Sometimes I'm succeeding, but the number goes up. I mean, in the past I chose to do less. It's good to have an active editorial board, because our policy is always to invite 1 member of the editorial board. We have 50 members of editorial board. They are experts in the area of the journal, and we expect them to accept to review. We normally expect them to review like 6 papers per year.
So who does the meta review or the final acceptance?
Handling editor. Either it's because the paper comes to the editor-in-chief, and then it's forwarded, assigned to a handling editor. Okay. Maybe a guest editor or one of the associate editors. We have 10 associate editors. And then the assigned handling editor or guest editor will make a decision based on the... usually we talk about 2, 3 rounds or more rounds of review. Okay. Sometimes 1, but it's rare to come up with 1 round of review. But it's difficult to get... Having a strong community here is very important. Because if you don't have a community around, then it's, I don't know how editors running kind of less prominent journals are dealing with expert reviewers, because we aim at expert reviews, not anybody reviewing, but people who really do work in the area. That's the, but everybody is busy. It's a volunteering work, so it's not easy. It's actually a daily problem with them. Okay, but that's why yes, please.
No, just go on. I didn't mean to interrupt.
No, it's fine.
It's just that I was thinking of maybe more than a question, it's just like another one, like first part of the conversation. Regarding like the first part of your presentation, like the reasons why we choose some journals or a publication path over another. So, and I've been fortunate enough to be able to do research at different institutions, like at similar countries, for example. And I've seen that there are significant differences between like North America and Europe from Latin America. And one other reason for which we set our paths for publishing is budgetary constraints. So in Latin America, especially, I could speak like mostly from what I've seen in Argentina, but I imagine it's the same scenario in other Latin American countries. We have strong budget constraints to participate in like major venues or conferences where we have to travel, and or also for publishing open access journals. So that's also something that we consider very much when like designing our publication path, and it strongly shapes
Yes.
our like at first in our first steps as a former PhD student. In my very brief experience in academia, it has strongly shaped the way that I decided to publish my paper. So I don't know, what's your take on that topic?
Yeah, yes, absolutely, yes. I mean, I think the model that I would prefer is project-based publishing. So there is a grant, there is funding, and there is a commitment on the part of the project team to publish, and there is funding to help them publish. So that's what I see. GIQ is very honest concerning open access. The decision about open access happens beyond me completely. Editor doesn't know whether the author opted for open access or not. So it's a hybrid model. You may publish without any costs, yes, but then it's behind paywalls. So Science Direct, yes, will be usually is actually the platform to publish GIQ articles. But yes, I think financial reasons are critically important, influential in shaping the possibilities to publish. I see a big push toward open access in Poland, and I see some mixed results. Yes, I have some doubts how much development value, not to generalize, of course, yes, but being careful where we are sending our work, so that even if it's a demanding place to get published, the value, the outcome you get in terms of the feedback from top people in the world, in your specialized area, I think makes it worse, even if the paper is rejected. So I know that how careful we are in terms of reviews and decisions, and who are the people actually reviewing for the journal. So it's yeah, but you're completely right with these financial limitations and how they shape people's decisions, yes, naturally.
And it's like more than individual decisions. I've seen like recent research, at least in my field of expertise, which is chem informatics, where, for example, they analyze trends of publications in Latin America, and maybe they don't take into account this implicit bias.
Yes.
So it's also something like worth noticing, like for example, in the field of governance, like, because those are kind of things that we have to take into account when like analyzing the panorama, right?
Yes. Yeah.
For picture. So.
Yeah. I see. I mean, we've had a number of projects, European projects, with Argentina, and they almost always is some pool of money for publishing as part of the projects. Yes. Yeah, that was helpful. Yes.
Yes, I want to share something related to what you were saying. We were with Axel presenting some results about the research area. I will not go into details about the country, but we realized that in a country in Latin America, which it was not comparable, the percentage of researchers in this topic compared to the whole population, Argentina had a lot more. They have higher number of indexed publications in the area. You remember? And when we explained this and we were saying we don't know why it happens, they said that in that country they started new journals that they were able to make it indexed. So we don't have so many journals in Argentina, national journals indexed in our domain. So then we need to go to international journals.
Yes.
And now we don't have only the restriction about budget, but it's also access to scientific libraries.
Yeah.
Because if we do not have access to scientific libraries, how we can do the state-of-the-art analysis and how we can make a claim that we are contributing to science, that we are having some kind of scientific contribution.
Yeah.
So there are several challenges that we need to address and to see how we can overcome.
That's true.
To build a journal is like a decade, yes? This journal, for example, ACM, Digital Government Research and Practice, it still doesn't have impact factor. It has side scores on Scopus, but after 5 years, it's a very successful journal. It will take time before it can earn actually impact factor. So that's a kind of natural limitation. Okay, any more questions?
So thank you, Tomasz. Thank you so much.
I'm happy to share these slides if you would be interested. Yes, to send out. Yes, and if you would have any questions or have special kind of stories to share along these lines, please contact me by email. Yes. Okay. Thank you. Good luck. Yes, with your research.
If you want the slides, send me an email or contact me and I'm happy to share. Okay.